Hello racers, it's Bill Little, your Director of Psychological Health. It's my pleasure to be addressing you here today on this video content. You know, this is not the normal drill. This is kind of out of the ordinary, but I feel very blessed to be able to reach you today in this context. You know, normally I'd like to be seeing each of you individually or seeing all your bright and shining faces, but since we can't do that because of circumstances, I'd like to offer some content today for you to just kind of consider. We're going to talk a little bit about some anxiety and some fear and just some things that people might be feeling and thinking. And we're just going to put out some good common sense mental health tips. We're going to talk a little bit about mental wellness. And I'm just going to put out some topics there for you to consider. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at the end of these and text or call, and because I'm here for you. All right. Let's talk a little bit today about understanding your anxiety. It's a frightening time right now. We're in the midst of global changes in how we work, how we shop, how we worship, and how we connect with others. Almost every aspect of life has been impacted. Our way of life has changed and is still evolving every day. We watch the news and we track the statistics and we wonder what's going to happen next. It's no secret that most of us really dislike change. In fact, most of us rebel against it most of the time. We like our comfort zone and we like our schedules to go as planned, uninterrupted. We like to be in control of our daily lives. And when we lose any level of that control, it can feel pretty disempowering. In times of change, when we feel control slipping away, or in this case, if it's taken away, it's pretty common to feel helpless and sometimes hopeless. Losing power or control can also cause a fair amount of stress and anxiety and even fear. Anxiety and fear are very powerful emotions which can impact the way we think, which in turn impacts how we behave and act. So it becomes even more important at this point to recognize these thoughts and feelings and deal with them before they begin to influence or dictate our behaviors. For many people, the uncertainty surrounding all this change has been the hardest thing to handle. We don't know exactly how we'll be impacted or how bad things might get. That makes it all too easy to catastrophize and spiral into overwhelming dread and panic. But there are many things you can do, even in the face of this unique crisis, to manage our anxieties and fears. So let's talk about staying informed. It's important to know what's going on, but we don't want to obsessively check the news. It's vital to stay informed, particularly about what's happening in our community, so you can follow safety protocols and do your part to keep yourself and your family safe. But there's a lot of immense information going on around in the media, as well as sensationalistic coverage that only feeds into fear. It's important to be discerning about what you read, what you watch, and how much. So let's talk about some tips. Stick to trustworthy news sources such as the CDC and the World Health Organization and your local public health authorities. Limit how often you check for updates. Constant monitoring of news and social media feeds can quickly turn compulsive and counterproductive, fueling anxiety rather than easing it. The limit is different for everyone, so pay attention to how you're feeling and adjust accordingly. Sometimes it's important to step away from the media if you start feeling overwhelmed. If anxiety is an ongoing issue with you, consider limiting your media consumption to a specific time frame and a certain time of day perhaps. If you don't want to reach out and look at the media, ask someone reliable to share important updates with you. If you'd feel better avoiding the media, ask someone you trust to pass along major updates, anything that you need to know. Focus on the things you can control. There are so many things outside of our control right now. It's difficult for many of us to accept this, but we need to recognize that we have no control over the actions of others or what's happening in our communities. Loss of control and unanswered questions can cause increased anxiety, causing us to respond by endlessly searching the internet for answers and thinking over all the different scenarios that might happen. But as long as we're focusing on questions with unknowable answers and circumstances outside of our personal control, this strategy will get us nowhere, aside from feeling drained, anxious, and overwhelmed. So when you feel yourself getting caught up in fear of what might happen, try to shift your focus to the things that you can control. For example, your personal habits, like when you go to bed, when you wake up, how much exercise you can fit into your day, what will you eat, controlling your exposure to others, limiting your time on social media, limiting your time performing unproductive tasks such as watching silly kitty videos or the funniest fails. Take care to be as productive as possible during this time. Make good use of your time. So, it's natural to be concerned about what may happen if your workplace closes, your children have to stay at home from school, and general concerns about health, wealth, and safety. While these unknowns can be scary to think about, being proactive can help relieve some of the anxiety. So, let's talk about some tips. First, maybe we write down specific worries that we have about the changes and how our life may be disrupted. If you start feeling overwhelmed, take a break. Make a list of all the possible solutions you can think of. Try not to get too hung up on the perfect options or the perfect plan. Include whatever comes to mind. Get that on paper and get it out. Focus on concrete things that you can problem solve or change, rather than circumstances beyond your control. After you've evaluated your options, draw up a plan of action. When you're done, set it aside and resist the urge to go back to it until you need it or your circumstances significantly change. Then go into problem-solving mode. Worry solves no purpose, but planning can ease the mind and prepare the spirit for action. Stay connected. Even when physically isolated, social distancing is recommended course of action right now, but it comes with its own risks. Humans are social animals. We're hardwired for connection. Isolation and loneliness can exacerbate anxiety and depression, and even impact our physical health. That's why it's important to stay connected as best as we can and reach out for support when we need it. Even as we cut back on in-person socializing, it's important to still stay connected. So make it a priority to stay in touch with friends and family. If you tend to withdraw when depressed or when stressed out or anxious, think about scheduling regular phone, chat, or Skype dates to counteract that tendency. While in-person visits are limited, substitute video chatting. If you're able, face-to-face contact is like good medicine for your mental health, reducing your risk of depression and helping ease stress and anxiety. Social media can be a powerful tool, not only for connecting with friends, family, and acquaintances, but for feeling connected in a greater sense to our communities, to our country, and to the world. It reminds us we're not alone. But having said that, be mindful of how social media is making you feel. Don't hesitate to mute keywords or people who are exacerbating your anxiety. We all know people who like to focus on the doom and gloom. And log off sometimes if it's making you feel worse. Be mindful of your biofeedback. Your body communicates how you're feeling sometimes better than we know. Let's do a simple test. Think of a time when you were very angry, either with someone else or yourself. Place yourself in that time and place. Do you notice that your jaw may be clenched or your blood pressure may have risen a bit? Maybe you feel blood rush to your face, or you feel your hands have turned into fists. This is biofeedback. Your body responds to your thoughts subconsciously. Becoming aware or mindful of your body's messages can be a helpful tool for recognizing when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed before you become consciously aware of it. Focus on your breathing as a tool for self-soothing. Breathing is something we do without thought, but purposeful meditative breathing can be one of the most effective methods for centering yourself and calming your thoughts. If you're curious, Google mindful breathing and see what you can find out. Take this time to educate yourself. It's a great time to learn some healthy coping skills. So don't let the global issues dominate every conversation. It's important to take breaks from stressful thoughts, to simply enjoy each other's company, to laugh, share stories, focus on other things. Emotions are contagious, so be wise about who you turn to for support. All of us are going to need reassurance, advice, or a sympathetic ear during this difficult time, but be careful who you choose as a sounding board. Emotions are highly contagious. Avoid talking about your worries and anxiety with people who tend to be negative or who reinforce and ramp up your fears. Turn to the people in your life who are thoughtful, level-headed, and good listeners. People who are positive, focused, and clear-minded. Use your resources such as myself, your DPH, or Chaplain Lundy. We're here for you every day, day and night. Take care of your body and spirit. This is an extraordinarily trying time, and all the tried and true stress management strategies apply, such as eating healthy meals, getting plenty of sleep, staying on a regular schedule, being thoughtful and kind, and meditating. Beyond that, here are some tips for practicing self-care in the face of these unique disruptions. Be kind to yourself. Go easy on yourself. If you're experiencing more depression or anxiety than usual, you're not alone in your struggles. Remember, we're coming out of a long winter, and take advantage of that sunshine that's out there. Maintain a routine as best you can. Even if you're stuck at home, try to stick to your regular sleep, school, meal, or work schedule. This can help you maintain a sense of normalcy. Take time out for activities you enjoy. Read a good book, watch a comedy, play a fun board game or a video game, or make something. Whether it's a new recipe or a craft or a piece of art, it doesn't matter what you do as long as it takes you out of your worries. Distract yourself. Get out into nature if possible. Sunshine and fresh air will do you a world of good. Even a walk around your neighborhood can make you feel better. Just be sure to avoid crowds, keep your distance from people you encounter, and obey restrictions in your area. Find ways to exercise. Staying active will help you release anxiety, relieve stress, manage your mood. While gym and group classes are out, you can still cycle, hike, walk. Find something to do to keep yourself active. If you're stuck at home, look online for exercise videos that you can follow. There are many things you can do even without equipment, such as yoga or exercises that use your own body weight. Avoid self-medicating. It's important right now to be careful that you're not using alcohol or other substances to deal with anxiety or depression. If you tend to overdo it in the best of times, it may be a good idea to cut down or avoid these substances for now. If you're struggling with drinking or medication, please reach out for help. Pick up your phone and call or text me. So let's talk about relaxation. When stressors throw your nervous system out of balance, relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, and yoga can bring you back into a state of equilibrium. Regular practice delivers the greatest benefits, so see if you can set aside a little bit of time every day to work on breathing or meditation. If you're unfamiliar with meditation or mindfulness, look them up, educate yourself, or call or text me and I can recommend some good resources. Now is a good time to think about helping others because it sure makes you feel better. At times like this, it's easy to get caught up in our own fears and our own concerns, but amid all the stories of people fighting over rolls of toilet paper and lining up outside the gun stores to stock up on ammo, it's important to take a breath and remember that we're all in this together. There's a quote circulating around Italy that says, "We're standing far apart now, so we can embrace each other later." It's no coincidence that those who focus on others in need and support their communities, especially during times of crisis, tend to be happier and healthier than those who act selfishly. Helping others not only makes a difference to your community and even to the wider world at this time, it can also support your own mental health and your own well-being. Much of the anguish accompanying this global unrest stems from feeling powerless. But doing kind and helpful acts for others can help you regain a sense of control over your life as well as adding meaning and purpose. Even when you're self-isolating or maintaining social distance, there's still plenty you can do to help others. So now let's talk about reaching out to others in need. If you know of others in your community who are isolated, particularly the elderly or the disabled, you can still offer support. Perhaps an older neighbor needs help with groceries or fulfilling a prescription. If you have resources to help them, please do so. You can always leave packages on their doorstep to avoid direct contact, or maybe they just need to hear a friendly, reassuring voice over the phone. Many local social media groups can help put you in touch with vulnerable people in your area. Let's think about the others as well. We can donate to food banks. Panic buying and hoarding have not only left grocery store shelves stripped bare, but have also drastically reduced supplies to food banks. You can help the older adults or the low-income families and others in need by donating food or cash, if you're able. Let's talk about us being of the calming influence. If friends or loved ones are panicking, let's try to insert some calmness in there. Let's help them regain some perspective on the situation. Instead of scaremongering or giving credence to false rumors, refer them to reputable news sources. Being a positive, uplifting, kind influence in these anxious times can help you feel better about your own situation too. If you have children, remember they are learning their coping skills by observing your behaviors. If you are calm, they will learn calmness. If you are irritable and short-tempered, they will learn that from you as well. Beware that most people act the way they feel, but we can be better than that. We need to be mindful that our actions impact others, especially our children. Be an example that you're proud of. Above all, during this time, please practice patience and kindness. It is difficult to deal with increased stress and worry and anxiety and fear and thoughts of the unknown without becoming overwhelmed. Please be mindful of your emotions, and if you feel that you're becoming overly irritable or easily agitated, it's important to remember that it's not okay to yell at your loved ones. It's not okay to raise a hand in frustration or anger. In times of increased anxiety, child abuse and spousal abuse cases tend to increase. Individuals struggle to deal with their emotions, and they often have very poor coping skills. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, step away, take a breath, take a walk, get some air, gather your composure. Stressful times can be made worse if we destroy the positive relationships in our lives because of a momentary loss of control. If you feel that you're reaching your breaking point, please call or text me and we can talk it out. Reach for your phone, okay? Reach out for help. There's no shame in that. It takes the strength and courage of a warrior to ask for help. So I encourage you all to make use of your coping skills. If you have good positive coping skills in place, if you haven't, now is a great time to learn them. So embrace your family, be kind to others, and if you have any questions or concerns, or if you just simply want to talk it out, reach out to me.